Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. We have a packed show. I'm going to get into it all. But first, a very exciting thing happened to myself and my family. I was made aware I was not with my son Drake or my husband Peter when they were entering a Costco yesterday. And they came home and said that a Juicy Scooper, female with her children, saw them and started shaking and said, I can't believe I'm like seeing you out in the wild. And they were at Costco and they were returning a Costco fan and they ran into a Juicy Scoop fan. If you guys don't believe in how the universe works and the Lord works in mysterious ways, I don't know how much more to preach to you. But anyway, I came home, I felt pretty special and so did they. So thank you, Juicy Scoopers. Remember to approach us all and hopefully we'll always be in a delightful mood when we're out in public. Also, I'll be in a delightful mood when I am at Humphreys by the Bay, July 27th. Next shows are Houston, Dallas, Austin, 8th, 9th, and 10th of August. And then I'll be in Saratoga on August 17th with Chris Frangiola. Everything is at heathermcdonald.net. Also today, the 26th of June, is the 20-year anniversary of White Chicks. Thank you. I am looking for the photo, which I hopefully will find and put it on Patreon, which you guys will see if you're part of Patreon. You can also get that at heathermcdonald.net. I'm going to be looking for those photos from the white carpet. We had a white carpet. I bought a great dress. I remember it was a white Dolce & Gabbana dress. And I wore my hair up because that's what I wore in the movie as the sales girl, and I wanted to be recognized. And there is a photo of me with Drake on my hip in his white diaper only, and me about to go to the white carpet premiere. So I'm going to find those photos. I also have photos with the stars, which you probably care more about. So anyway, I love that everyone loves that movie. If you're not aware, I was a contributing writer on the movie with the Wayans brothers, and I came up with the idea and wrote the scene of the sales girl when the guys who are women, dressed as women, come and try on clothes, and I'm the sales girl wearing a lavender blouse. So thank you for recognizing it. Thank you for loving that movie and quoting it. I love it, love it, love it. It was so fun. And the Wayans were always gentlemen and hilarious to work with. So love you all. Okay, let's get into it. Well, a lot of you were not happy with me in the last couple days when I gave my opinion of the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce bit in her Eras tour. No, I have never been to the concert. So thank you for letting me know that this is a bit that she's been doing for the past year in her show, where guys come out in these old-timey outfits and she's a dead doll. So they just threw him in for the moment. The people that don't agree with me, which I love, that is America, we can disagree, said, Heather, you're wrong. She had a boyfriend for so many years that didn't want to be any part of her public life. He loves it. He likes it. He wanted to be on stage. It was fun. I think this just proves how compatible they are. I shouldn't be concerned. He would never quit football to be a country singer, Heather. Well, people don't play football forever, okay? And so when he starts, sipping on chamomile tea and lemon and taking voice lessons, I don't want to hear Heather was right, okay? Because I don't want to be right. Okay. I hope this was a one-time thing. I hope that he doesn't do it every single show because I think it would get old and weird and he'll start to get tired and resentful and not think it's as fun as he thought the first time. So this was hopefully a one and done and fun for them. Some people think they're already engaged. Some people think they might already be married. I want this couple to stay together. I just didn't think that this was going down the right path for a possible thirsty dude. And we're all thirsty. So I'm just saying, who wouldn't want to go on stage and have 90,000 people screaming your name? He obviously loves it. He did a reality show many years ago before, chasing Kelce when he was, where he was like a bachelor. So he likes it. He likes the limelight. So you're right. She found someone who likes the limelight. They're perfect together. Okay. Thank you for, and I want to say also, everybody goes, watch out for the Swifties, Heather. Guess what? I didn't get any death threats. I didn't at all. I just got a few people being like, I disagree with you. Why are you so interested, you weird old lady? That's not a death threat. So thank you, Swifties. Thank you for not coming after my life. Thank you. Okay. Also, Prince William and his 2 older kids went to the Swiftie show, and she took a selfie. And this title from the New York Post, I don't even understand what this means. It says, Travis Kelce didn't bow to the coolest motherfucker, Prince William. So what I understand is from this title, because I was like, I am not clicking on this. He was there too backstage. They had their meet and greet with Prince William, and maybe she bowed, maybe she didn't, but Travis Kelce didn't. Okay, I don't think he cares. All right. Update on Sherri Papini. Again, yes, when I talked about it with Matt Murphy, I had not finished the 3-part Hulu doc. It is excellent. Definitely watch it. And one thing I did say was, I know she'll have another boyfriend, get married, maybe even have another baby. Nothing would surprise me. Well, yesterday, the Daily Mail came out that she is with this guy who's 49. She's now 41. And he is a widower. And he works at has some car dealership or something. He looks pretty cute. Cameras followed them. They were having like a steamy makeout session. And he got her a house. I don't know if it's a leased house or purchased, but she's in a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. She's currently trying to get more visitation with her children, try to get that back. If you see the end of the doc, the husband says, I have full custody of my kids. We thought about changing our last name, but my older son said no. And the kids are featured at this age as themselves. And at the end of the doc, because I'm going to tell you, you guys were mad that I didn't watch it, so I'm going to tell you what else happens in it. So if you want to skip it, this part, I'm going to tell you. He tells a story about how at the one day when he was putting his daughter to bed, he hurt his shoulder. And she goes, well, why don't you just do what mommy does when we get sick? And he goes, what do you mean? And she said, oh, they take this alcohol. She takes an alcohol rag and makes us breathe it until when? She goes, until we're not sick anymore. So basically he tells a story of it looks like she was doing Munchausen by proxy and making her kids stay sick longer than they were in order to get attention, which I just interviewed someone, which this episode will be on later in July. It's a great episode about Munchausen's by proxy with Andrea Dunlop. And it is really interesting. And that the liars, people that are liars, women that are liars, oftentimes when they get into Munchausen's by proxy, they had a history of lying prior to that. So it's very, very interesting. But I don't know. She has not made a statement about that. She's trying to get more time with her kids, and she's with this guy. Now, here's the other alleged juicy scoop. Well, it's juicy scoop, but it's alleged stuff. Unfortunately, his wife passed away. There is a Facebook group that believes that there is something not right about the way she passed. And allegedly, he and Sherri Papini were seeing each other and talking and dating before she passed and before Sherri went to prison. So there's this whole thing going on online where people think there's something deeper than him being a widower who then met Sherri Papini and now they're in love. And she's a perfect mother, perfect wife, just like the Hulu doc. So, and I also wanted to correct also in that the way they found the old boyfriend who had kept Sherri Papini in the bedroom at his place in Huntington Beach was there was DNA on her clothes. I don't know why it took so long to get the DNA back, but that is how they tracked it back to him. And maybe they were just building the case for all those years. And still, there was no sexual relationship. So I don't know what that DNA was. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't sperm. Maybe it was just some type of other DNA of his that was so little that was on her clothes. But that is how they found him, questioned him, and then he came forward with his story. But it's still, even though I've talked about this ad nauseum and I thought I knew everything, I highly suggest you watch that on Hulu and tell me what you think. And of course she has a new boyfriend, of course. Okay, Little More and Karen Reed. Again, also you guys were mad. Listen, no, guess what? I have not watched all 33 days of court TV. No, I have not, of the Karen Reed case. I was letting you know and talking with former prosecutor Matt Murphy about hot, interesting trials and things that are going on right now. So I gave a broad overview. But the majority of you that were mad at my coverage, yes, you 100% believe that she was set up by the police, that they are all covering it up, and that she never said, I hit him. She said, oh my gosh, I wonder if I hit him. Listen, like I said, I have not watched the whole thing. Right now, the jury has instructions to decide what the verdict is. And there's a lot of instructions to it because it goes everywhere from murder one, where she planned it out and hit him on purpose and knew that she hit him and left him to die, to she never hit him, or maybe she did hit him, but she didn't mean it. That's manslaughter. There's all these different things, which I'm not going to get into because you're going to say I'm doing it wrong. Okay, so she did get in trouble for smirking. The judge didn't like that. Her attorney did ask for greater clarification for the jury's instructions of how they're going to come up with their verdict. But, it goes on and on. It says, in order to prove murder in the second degree, the Commonwealth must prove the following elements. First, the defendant caused the death of John O'Keefe. Two, the defendant intended to kill John O'Keefe or intended to cause grievous bodily harm to John O'Keefe or intended to do an act which, in the circumstances known to the defendant, a reasonable person would have known created a plain and strong likelihood that death would result. That is what, that's the instruction. So we'll see how long it takes. And I did hear that they are, in fact, doing a documentary that she has been seen with cameras following her in Boston. So we'll see. And we'll see if she gets off or not. Okay. Huck Tuah girl. Let me explain what's going on here. I heard about this. I was like, what I've gathered, there is a girl that was just asked, doing one of those man on the streets. It was a guy asking her, how do you keep a guy, or something like that. And she goes, you have to give him that Tuah, okay? And I was like, what is this? So, meaning, like, I guess when she goes down on a guy, that's what she did. And she's like a decently cute college girl, or freshly out of college, blonde, white girl. And I think that guys think that's hilarious because they do that when they clear their throat. They do that Huck Tuah, I guess, whatever. They like that it was referred to giving BJs. Anyway, UTA apparently has signed her. They think she's funny. She has merch going. People are buying the merch. She allegedly lost her job because of this. I think it's great that she's embracing the moment. How long will this last? I don't know. Obviously, she'll get a podcast deal, all for this one memeable moment. And for everybody else that's trying to get signed or act or get a podcast deal, or you should be pissed off. But you know what? It was luck. It was opportunity. She was funny in the moment, and it just hit on a slow day on the internet, and guys found her to be hilarious. I'm sure she's going to be doing stand-up soon. Okay, so that's the deal. Good for her. And hey, if all else fails, she can do OnlyFans. So, and might as well do OnlyFans for as long as OnlyFans is around. Who knows when that'll be gone. So, good for you, girl. But apparently there is a line about Huck Tuah something in a Missy Elliott song, which I didn't know either. So people are like, she didn't invent this as a reference to how to get a good BJ. So we should not give her all the kudos that we've been giving her. So there you go. Huck Tuah girl. Meanwhile, Katy Perry has released this song that's coming out that sounds very odd and shit. It sounds like shit, but it is in my head. And she went to the Fashion Week in Paris, and she wore this long she wore a short red dress, but it had a long train with the words of her latest song that's out. Well, I don't know if it's been out, but she shared a small clip on the internet about it. And a lot of people were like, why did she bring her CVS receipt to Paris? And there were some funny things. She has lost a lot of weight. She's on the Ozempic too. She's enjoying showing her abs post-baby and like loving her look. So then she went to the Balenciaga. Yeah, remember when that was a big no-no? Well, that lasted a minute. Everyone's at Balenciaga, including Katy Perry, which a lot of people would be like, of course she is. Put two and two together, Heather. Okay, you put two and two together. That got me in trouble when I would talk about things like Balenciaga. So she went, and she's wearing just black ripped nylons just under her C-section scar. So she's like, I wanted my C-section scar to show. Okay, because she's a woman. And then I guess there's a heat wave in Paris, so she also paired it with a long fur coat and just, showing her skinny, dehydrated abs. Good for her, okay? And, stealing the look of the naked look. That's all the rage this Fashion Week. I don't know what's going on with her, you guys. Ever since she wanted to get that home from the old nuns in Los Feliz. I don't know. I don't even know. Did she ever get that house? Remember that? That was a big deal. Okay, anyway. The words of her song are, and it goes something like this. Sexy, confident, so intelligent. She is heaven sent, so soft, so strong. Okay, that's the words of the song. So I talked about it on my Patreon, and I had a Juicy Scooper write me a song. Sexy Catholic, podcaster, comedian. She's a housewife historian, California native. Parents are real estate agents. But look, I remembered the tune. So I think she's taking a page out of JoJo Siwa's, so good it's bad kind of a thing of Karma's a bitch. Who knows? Meanwhile, Bianca, who's getting no credit for bringing the weird naked craze, except from me, she had to go out again wearing ace bandages. And this time, she has huge boobs, which appear to be natural boobs. So they're huge. She has an amazing body, okay? Big boobies, tiny, tiny body, okay? She has pink hair now. She looks so much like Kim Kardashian. It's crazy. And she had to go out with just like an ace bandage just around her nip and then wrapped around, as if she had 2 injuries on her legs. So that went all the way down. She was able to wear shoes this other day that she went to go out. So that's nice. And she's just with like 2 friends, 2 paid friends that just have to act like her tit isn't about to fall out. Obviously, she can't go pee. There's no way to get out of this ace bandage, easily because it's all attached. So she can't really eat because God forbid she eats or drinks. She's going to have to pee. And the only way I will ever forgive this woman for putting us through what she has is if she comes out and tells us that she has made millions and millions of dollars for being Kanye's fake girlfriend and showing off her killer body. And she's very comfortable with her sexuality and very comfortable with her nakedness. She's a nudist at heart and had no problem wearing ace bandages or going to Disneyland. She had no problem with, wearing no shoes. She was able to get a pedicure after, and they, worked on her calluses, and she is fine. She does not need to see a podiatrist. That is the only way I will be okay with whatever this weird fucking thing is happening with the 2 of them. Okay. Also, this girl, I don't know who she is. She was in Paris. The bottom cleavage, under tit look is still all the rage. This one looks like she just took her bra and just wore it backwards. So just like the skinny part of the bra was covering the nips. This is Gigi Hadid, I think. She wore a weird dress that just highlighted nipples. Okay. And then this item someone sent me, there is a skirt at Nordstrom that's black, a black kind of long, nothing skirt, worn with some sensible black pumps. But the skirt is got an inlay of kind of granny light pink underwear, but then the back is the back of the underwear, which is a G-string over a normal black skirt. Anyway, lucky for you, there's a new markdown if you want to go run over to Nordstrom and get it. Justin Timberlake is back performing, and Jessica Biel was there cheering him on. Though they say there's still low ticket sales, I don't know. Other people said they've gone to the show. They love it. They had the best time ever. They're trying to get tickets. They want to go. I was also reminded of, we talked about how the cop didn't know who he was that arrested him. He was 22 and he's pretty cute. So like I said, get ready. He'll be on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette next season maybe. Well, maybe not. It's too bad they weren't casting right then. Then I think he would get called. So when the cop didn't know who he was, I was reminded of when Reese Witherspoon, her husband at the time, she since divorced him, was pulled over, and she was buzzed herself, and he was pulled over for drunk driving, and she was talking to the cop, which was all recorded on his body cam, and she was a little sassy. She was a little know-it-all, saying, don't you know who I am? It was a don't you know who I am situation. I have to say, he didn't, from everything I saw, he didn't do that. He was just like, this is going to ruin the tour. And the guy was like, what tour? Who are you? So he's back performing, and we'll see what happens with that. They also, New York Post, that Justin Timberlake sells his 127,000-acre Nashville ranch amid DWI scandal and sluggish tour sales. Well, this one I did read, and this was already listed. He did reduce it, and it was already closed prior to the DUI. So, stop trying to make juice where there isn't any juice. Now, this was juicy. This is why you have to be really watch where you are at all times, even if you aren't famous. This girl was on a plane, commercial flight, and she's like filming herself. And she put it on TikTok, Instagram, Reels, whatever. It went wild, and everybody shared it. And basically, she's like, if your man is traveling from here to here, and, she gave all the details, what kind of business he had, what he was doing there, because she was eavesdropping of him flirting with this girl. They met at the bar at the airport. Then he had her switch seats so they could sit together on the plane, which was right next to this little spy. And they flirted the whole way, got drunk, made plans. He had his wedding ring on. He talked about his 8-year-old daughter, and she put it out there, and he has been found. They found out who he was. I don't know what's going to happen with this, but this is not the first time I've seen videos like this go wild, where girls are like, if your man was at a bachelor party in Nashville and, looks like this and does that, he fucked my friend. So if this is your man, or if this is who you're marrying in 2 weeks, so just know, guys, girls, everybody's watching, and not just a Ring camera, like everywhere. And the girl was like just rubbing her eye, trying to make it look like she wasn't like filming behind her. So anyway, I love it if that's your dude and you're traveling all the time. But what if she knew? What if the wife was like, motherfucker, listen, I don't care that you go on the road and screw girls. I don't care. We have a nice life. I'm screwing the gardener. But now everybody knows. Everyone knows at the school. Everyone knows in her neighborhood. Everyone at your work knows. So now we have to get divorced. Great. Thanks a lot, idiot. Speaking of commercial flights, apparently JLo, who ended her tour early for the sole reason of spending more time with her family, went to Italy and Paris and was seen in a really cute one-piece bathing suit and heels on a boat taking selfies and belfies of herself. That's when you take just a photo of your ass. And like a butt selfie. They call it a belfie. Still a workable term. Anyway, she was by herself. She's going to all the fashion shows. She's looking great and posting about it. There's photos of her on a commercial flight. Now, one report says she was sitting in economy. Another one just said it was a commercial flight. Well, yeah, if you're flying from Paris to LA, maybe you don't want to fly in your private jet. Maybe that doesn't make financial sense, but then you're on first class. The photo looks like if it was a first class, it wasn't that fancy of a first class, which tells me maybe it was just an hour and a half flight. Other people think she's doing it to hone in. I'm just Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, but now I have a lot. Anyway, who knows? But she wasn't with Ben. Meanwhile, Ben Affleck, according to New York Post, flips out on paparazzi outside his home amid Jennifer Lopez marital woes. Apparently, he was at his house. His daughter was coming out. There were all these paparazzis and stuff. He said, like, I can't see with the lights flashing. You know, my daughter's coming out of the house. I don't want you to accidentally hit her. Like, get the hell out. And he was very, very angry. So we don't know where they are in their relationship. They're trying to sell their house, which is $65 million. But I saw a clip from Kevin Hart's podcast talk show. And I believe this was filmed, this interview with Ben Affleck prior to the breakup rumors. But they still have not said they're breaking up or anything. It's all just been rumors. It's all just been speculation. And in it, he's like really relaxed with Kevin Hart. He kind of sounds different. He doesn't really sound like he sounded in other interviews. He's just like, and he's basically saying he and the kids and Jennifer Lopez were going to go to a play in New York. And it was so trafficky that the only way they were going to not miss the opening of the play is if they got out and like walked down the street instead of staying in the car. And he's like, look, I'm famous and I have people that come up and are like, oh, hey, I like your movie. He's like, but I'm with, for Jennifer, meaning JLo. He's like, they just go crazy for her. Like people just scream. And he tells all these stories to the fans. And he's like, it's a whole different thing with her. And my daughter said, oh, I have the title of my book. My stepmom was JLo. She's always coming up with titles of her book, which sounds like, they all like each other and get along. But I'm seeing more and more clips of interviews, which obviously are being highlighted, which sounds like he's kind of starting to resent her fame and the reaction that she gets and how she handles it versus the reaction he gets and how he chooses to handle it, which now makes me go back to the original thing, which is she is a hardworking delight who loves it and never wants to stop and loves every aspect of it and will do whatever it takes to stay relevant and in the limelight. And that's what brings her joy. And he does not. And he is like, holy fuck, I can't believe I signed up for this shit. Like I'm not into this at all. I'm a grumpy Boston dude. And I'm like over 50. So I'm even grumpier. So I don't know how they're going to do, you guys. Speaking of true love, Bill Belichick, 72-year-old, he just retired for being the coach of the Patriots, is in love and living with his girlfriend. Her name's Jordan, and she's 23. Now, this has gotten a lot of press in the last couple weeks, and she was a former cheerleader, college cheerleader. There was video of him coming out of her house on a Ring camera. I don't know I don't even know if that was real or not, but they've been dating a while, and now they are living together. And his last girlfriend that he had on and off for 6 years was this really beautiful woman who is 61 years old. So that was his last girlfriend. And now he's got this 23-year-old. So, there's always been big age differences. This is huge. This is a huge thing. But her ex-boyfriend has come forward. And he's like, she's a great girl. She's really smart. I had wonderful conversations with her. He was 63. So prior to dating this 72-year-old, she was dating a 63-year-old. So she clearly has a type, and the type is fucking old. So sometimes I'm like, you know what, Heather, you're a fucking hoot. Anyway, so I was thinking about it. Now, this guy is fit. He's 72. He could live till 100, And so I'm not saying they're getting married, but let's hope they don't. For her sake, because after a while, it's just going to get really old. Acting like you're having great conversations with his friends and their wives and girlfriends. And even if some of the old friends are on their second or third wife, they're probably at least 50. So now you're 23 and you're just constantly like, but most of the time you're probably hanging out with like a 65-year-old or 75-year-old woman and being like, oh, hi, are we going to have a girls' luncheon today? Are we playing Mahjong? I don't know. What the fuck? Like, it's going to get so old. And then, because it is old. And then if you were to stick with someone this old, as your friends get married and have kids, even though you're wealthier than them because you're with an 80-year-old and you're not even 30 yet and he's got a lot of money, you're going to open up your Facebook and you're going to see that all your friends and their husbands who are shirtless and they're all in Cabo and having fun, and all your friends' husbands have normal, tight skin and without moles and sun damage or skin tags that you have to, take care of for them. You're going to be like, oh my God, this isn't as fun as I thought. It's not as fun as I thought. I don't know if she has any girlfriends at all. I can't imagine that this girl having a 23-year-old girlfriend is just like, you do you, boo. How's Billy? Whew, let's have some fun. I mean, maybe if they're like, can we all go on the jet? But when does that just get like, ew, you're gross. This is so beyond dating someone like 20 or 25 years older than you. I don't even want to do the math. It's fucking a lot. So anyway, good for them. Maybe she was like either I love cheerleading so much, so either I try to be a professional cheerleader or I just date one of the owners who just retired and at least I can go to the games and be friends with the cheerleaders. I don't know what this is. But speaking of cheerleaders, hot show series on Netflix is called The Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. American Sweethearts is what it's called, but it's about the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. And so we started to watch it a little bit, and I remember when I was so infatuated with, that was the only part of the football games that I'd like to watch as a little girl, and I was like, I want to be one of those cheerleaders. And I remember my mom's like, they make $15 an hour. That's what she told me in the 70s. They make $15 an hour. I'm like, a game? No, she goes, they make $15 a game. I was like, really? So last night I was telling my boys that, and they're like, that's not true. Well, I go, well, now they probably make a couple hundred a game. And they're like, there's no way. So we looked it up, and apparently they make $22,000 a season as a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. And the water boy makes an average of $53,000 a year. The water boy makes $53,000. The cheerleaders make $22,000. And they just love it so much. They don't care about the money. We looked up the Laker girls. The Laker girls make $600 a game and make an average of $33,000 a year. And what I'm thinking is, here you're like this good-looking girl. You can dance. You have a perfect body. And you get to be seen at the games, and it's fun. But I'm guessing there's probably like a morality thing in your contract that won't allow you to make money using your looks in other ways besides, like, sure, you could get a jean ad or something, but I'm sure you can't do OnlyFans. I'm sure you can't do something that somehow would misrepresent the wholesomeness of the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders or the Lakers or whatever. That's what I'm guessing. So then how do you supplement that income? And then I was like, well, is the goal to like meet a basketball player or a football player and like hopefully fall in love and get married? Because it seems like every football player's wife and girlfriend in basketball, they're never the cheerleaders. They're always some other good-looking girl they met. So you're not even meeting them. I think they don't want you to date them because then there's like drama or the guy's distracted or right before the game you're like, fuck you, And so maybe they don't want them to date. So you're not even meeting the players. I guess maybe you could meet the old rich players that are the old rich men that are in front, or maybe the owners, and try to, I don't know what the goal is. Or you're like, Heather, they just like cheering. Why do you always think there's an ulterior motive? Okay, sorry. Maybe you're right. Some people really love cheerleading. I was a cheerleader. Here I am in 7th grade. And Thank God. Thank you, God. I wasn't good at it because I kind of liked the outfits. I liked hanging out with the girls. I liked going to camp. I just wasn't very good. But if I was good, who knows where I'd be today? What if I did make the Raiders cheerleaders or the Rams or the Lakers and then I never pursued stand-up and then I finally was like, well, I'll be a mom. I'll be a cheer mom. And then I have boys and I can't even be a cheer mom. Anyway, it just sounds like something that if you love it, you're going to give up a lot to do it. So maybe the gift is sucking at it. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, let's get into some Housewives news. Nene Leakes she's got a new show. It's on Lifetime, and I saw the trailer. It's called Outrageous Love. And basically, it's what we would call a clip show. It sounds like she's just narrating a bunch of like crazy moments where, a groom shoves a whole cake in a bride's face, and she's like, that's a Nene no-no, and like, so good for her. Seems kind of dated up type of a show. Let's talk about Real Housewives of New Jersey. Because nobody's really watching Real Housewives of Dubai, which is on Peacock. So I'm only going to talk about New Jersey. As you know, there's a lot of shit going down in New Jersey. And they are not having a reunion. And Andy said, you won't need a reunion when you watch the last few episodes and especially the finale. I think it was not doing well this season. People were not talking about it. They were not watching it in the beginning. They didn't like that there was all this rift, like almost like two casts. And I think by not having a reunion, that made people start watching it. And it has gotten better. So there's this girl, Jackie, who has been on a few years, but she doesn't get invited to a lot of stuff. And she became just a friend. So she's not like in the poster. She's not a main player, but she really wants to. So every time someone doesn't include her in something, she takes it like, hey, you're fucking up my job. I want to keep this job. She does have a law degree, but let me tell you something. It's a lot more fun and easier to be a housewife than go and defend someone for a murder trial or whatever. Look at the Karen Reed case. It's a lot more work. My sister's an attorney. Trust me. If she had the opportunity, maybe she'd like to just like throw drinks in people's faces in New Jersey. I don't know. So she wants to keep the job. So she's very annoyed. And she had shared with Margaret that she was pissed at Dolores, that Dolores didn't tag her because she needs all the tagging and all the eyes on her to keep her relevant to stay on this show. And Dolores took a big photo of everybody at a charity event and forgot to tag Jackie. So she had written Margaret saying, I hate Dolores. I fucking hate her. She's a slob. She's sloppy. And Margaret thought Jackie was her friend, but then she realized Jackie turned on her and went Team Teresa. So then at this dinner at Melissa's house, she's like, oh, really? So she sends the screen grab of the text exchange between herself and Jackie to Dolores. And Dolores is like, really, Jackie? You said you fucking hate me and you called me a slob? You're sloppy. You know what? You're sloppy because you wrote it. She's like, well, Margaret says a lot of awful things about you and Paulie too, but she just doesn't put it in writing. She goes, yeah, she doesn't put it in writing. She's a lot smarter than you, idiot. You're the lawyer and you put it in writing. Maybe it's good that you're not a lawyer because no one's going to hire you now once you get fired from Housewives. So there's all that going on. Of course, we know that Teresa and Melissa and Melissa's husband, Joe Gorga, that whole situation, they're split, right? But then there's this big fight that happens between new girl Danielle and Jennifer Aydin. And it all comes down to hair people. The hair people should have their own reunion because there's all these people that do these bitches' hair and they all are getting screwed over and they're making fights out of, you didn't treat the hair person right. You didn't tip them. You didn't pay them. You didn't let them come in the VIP section. Why such a bitch to the girl that did your hair extensions? They start getting in a fight about a girl who does hair extensions. And Danielle freaks out because she realizes that Jennifer Aydin is saying things about her character while they film it. And it was a private conversation they had in which Danielle said to Jennifer Aydin, just so you know, you might not want to do this free photo shoot with the hair extension lady, because she's going to use your image to promote her work, and that might piss off other hair people. And then Jennifer Aydin said, you wanted to ruin this hair girl's business by telling me not to do it. And then Danielle's like, you're dirty. You're dirty. Everyone says you're dirty. You're dirty. And then Jennifer Aydin pushes her. And you can see it in this photo. She pushes her. And Danielle takes her plastic cup. Thank God it was plastic. And threw it at her. And she doesn't get cut or anything because it's plastic. But she gets a drink on her. That's where we are now. She leaves. That's the latest episode. Since then, I think Jennifer Aydin has been fired. Whether this show comes back or not, I definitely think she has been fired for putting her hands on her. Other people would say, well, don't you remember when Teresa pushed Andy in the famous reunion, season 2 reunion? Yeah, but she's Teresa. I don't know. But Jennifer Aydin is not posting anything on her Instagram to promote the show. She doesn't put it in her bio. She's been banned from doing press. So we'll see. Danielle is like, I don't like all these people, around us, these hair people, these bloggers, because they're screwing it all up, which could be true. All the stuff that came out was about Jennifer Aydin getting bloggers to put out stories about other cast members. Was Teresa involved? No, she wasn't. She was, it was her former co-host of her podcast. There's so much going on. And it just, I don't know. I think they're all pretty awful to each other, and they all don't like each other. But there we go. So we'll see what happens. But it is juicy. I'd watch it. Meanwhile, Hollywood Unlocked says that Teresa Giudice's husband, Louis, and Vinevia, CEO, are accused of fraud, owes millions to companies. So there is a lawsuit going on with the CEO. But because Louis is involved in this company, I think he is mentioned in the lawsuit, but I don't know that he's being sued. And this was this company that was supposed to kind of be like a new TikTok type of a thing. And they had a big launch. I was invited. I couldn't go. I was out of town. I was, but I never really saw anybody use it or promote it after it. So maybe they didn't because they knew that it was in trouble, or maybe they didn't want to be associated with anymore. I don't know, but that doesn't look good, and that story's out. Meanwhile, they are filming a show with Housewives' kids, which is, yes, thank you. That was one of my ideas, but I'm sure it was other people's ideas too. But look back, I've been doing this for 9 years. I said this as a good idea. So it's Gia Giudice, which obviously should be chosen because she is good at reality TV, and she's sassy, and she's pretty, and she's very much like Teresa, where she's like, and now I walk away. So it's called How to Make It in Manhattan, and it's she and Candy's daughter, who is either out of school or went to school in New York, Brooks Marks, who is the Brooks Marks fashion designer, who I met, who is very attractive and sweet in person. That's Meredith Marks' son from Salt Lake. And let me see if there, who else? Oh, and Kim Zolciak's daughter, Ariana, the one that's not engaged, the other daughter. And it's called Making It in Manhattan. So I don't know. This might be a good idea. Kids, they know how to do reality TV, just like you might, just if your dad was a mechanic, you might be better at fixing a car. They know how to do reality TV. Cameras have been in their faces since they were 4, and they know how to turn it up, turn it down, make it happen, get in fights with people, be interesting, turn on the conversations when the guy is sweating with a camera behind them, not just sit there and be boring, versus getting a whole bunch of new kids that have never done this. But then the question is, will this be too much self-produced? I don't know. I think it's a good idea. Kenya Moore of Real Housewives of Atlanta is not returning. To remind you guys, they were filming Atlanta, and a new girl, she claims, threatened her with a gun. Production said there was never any gun brought to any filming or anything like that. But when the girl wasn't present, she had an event, Kenya, and she had a screen like I have here and showed photos allegedly of this girl giving oral to a guy, and nobody wanted to see that. No one asked to see it. It was like pornographic, kind of forced on you, which I think is really horrible. Obviously, it was horrible to the girl. The producers didn't know. It all got out because there were people there that were invited to this Kenya Moore hair care event. And so she's like, I am fine. She spoke, I am prioritizing my daughter, Brooklyn, and just posted some like cute photos of her daughter. And she is off the show. I mean, with everything that's going on with Bravo, I think this is really bad. Other people would say, but look what happened with Tom Sandoval and Raquel. He allegedly, filmed their sexy FaceTime without her knowledge, and other people saw it. There's a lawsuit about that. However, that was not done during filming, and he didn't share it on a big screen while they were producing and filming the show that Bravo pays for. So I think this is pretty bad. We'll see. But doesn't mean that she can't go on Villains. Doesn't mean that she can't go on The GOAT or on, Survivor or Traitors or whatever. So, meanwhile, Candy Burris said that she did take Ozempic and it didn't work for her. But you know what does? Hydroxycut. And she's doing a partnership with them. So there you go. Also, Cynthia Bailey's ex-husband, who was on Real Housewives, and Nene used to call him Papa Smurf because he had a white beard. And anyway, his name's Peter Thomas. And he admits, he did a video admitting that he did not pay his business taxes for years. And he is going to prison for that. So he just basically withheld his employees' taxes and never paid any of the taxes for years and years, and could never catch up with his failing businesses. And now he's going to prison. So there's a lesson to you. Kelly Bessimone of Real Housewives of New York. Remember in Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, she was talking about her boyfriend. She's engaged. He was cute. He's the divorced dad of 3. She's a divorced mother of 2, like 20-something daughters. She had the whole wedding planned. She had 3 different gowns that she was going to wear at Kleinfeld. Can I just ask the bride something? Is that now the norm? Does everyone have to have 3 dresses? I saw that Lindsay of Summer House was selling her 3 dresses, all of which looked very similar. Now, I get it. If you want to have 3 dresses, you have one more traditional conservative for the church. Then you have one for dance with your dad, first dance, sitting, eating. Then you go and change and you wear like a short one with like feathers at the bottom or something. But still, my God, that is so expensive to have 3 dresses. And you have to leave your event and change. So I don't know who started this trend. I think it should stop. I think it's just extra. Well, it's good for the bridal industry, I guess. But anyway, she has 3 dresses. But she canceled the wedding. And it's going to 4 days prior to it happening. They were going to have a ceremony with 3 dresses in like his mother's backyard or something. And then they were going to have another like reception in the Hamptons, which maybe she'd wear 3 more dresses. Anyway, so it's not happening and we don't know why. But hopefully we'll find out. Maybe she just said, I'm going to make my daughters a priority, just like Kenya Moore hair care. I'm going to make my daughter a priority and I'm not marrying this guy. Tom Girardi, they're saying, the prosecutor is saying Tom Girardi used client money to fund his wife's entertainment career, prosecutors say. This is Erica Jane. We've heard about the $25 million that went into her account that allegedly came from money of his clients that winnings. He won these settlements for his clients. And instead giving them the $10 million that they won, he'd give them like $1 million and say, oh, the rest is coming. Or I only got you $1 million. Everybody has a different story. And then he took that money and he put it so that Erica Jane could become Erica Jane. I definitely feel that I don't think she knew where that money came from. She married the guy that was 30 years older than her or 25 years older than her. And he was like, here's the Amex card, spend what you want, hire the stylist, hire the clothing people, do whatever it takes, go have your fun, girl. And that is her story. So she is not part of this prosecution lawsuit, any of that. I don't think she's part of that. So, but that is now being brought up again. So we'll see if it's featured at all in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Speaking of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Jamie Lee Curtis. Remember when she was on it? And with Dorit being like, oh, I love that wind chime. So chic, Jamie Lee Curtis. Anyway, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are seen in front of their trailers. It looks like they're doing a remake of Freaky Friday. So good for them. That should be fun. This girl said that she spent $162,000 on Frankenstein leg lengthening surgery to please her ex. So for 8 years, she was 5'5", which I don't think is short at all. She was 5'5", but her husband at the time wanted her to be more like 6 feet. He just really loved a long-legged beauty. So she went through the painful surgeries, so many surgeries, cost $162,000. She came from Germany. She's a reality star from Germany. Theresia Fisher is her name. And it was 8 years. It was enormous pain that she could not put into words. But she said all her life she struggled with viewing herself as a smaller person. No matter what I wanted, I couldn't change it, but now I could. So she did the limb lengthening augmentation, and today I guess she's happy because she finally got to remove the lengthening rods after 8 years. So weird. Now I mean, I don't know. I remember one time there was a moment in our Chelsea Lately days that Chewy was like had looked into it or something, and we were like, what? Like, why would you do that? Like, you're perfect the way you are. But I really think it's weird when someone is like a normal sized woman at 5'5". Anyway, they ended up getting divorced anyway. She's not even with the guy that said that he wanted her long legs. Mindy Kaling quietly welcomed her third child, a girl. So Mindy Kaling has 3 kids. We don't know. She has never said who the father is, if she did it on her own like Lala and searched out someone from a sperm bank, or what the case is. But that's her business. She's raising her kids and she's loving life, not having to share custody with anyone, apparently. So very interesting, because Tom Cruise's daughter, Suri Cruise, who he looks like he has had nothing to do with for the last 10 to 12 years, graduated from high school, and on her graduation ceremony pamphlet, it just says Suri Noel, not Suri Noel Cruz. So she too has dropped the last name of her dad. Just like Shiloh Jolie Pitt is now just Shiloh Jolie. No, wait, Angela Jolie. Yeah. So it's just Shiloh Jolie, no Brad Pitt. Vivian, one of the twins, she has dropped Pitt. And also Sahara, the older daughter of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, she has dropped Pitt from, her name was like in the sorority or something in college. So they have all dropped Pitt. So I assume maybe his boy twin still has Pitt in the last name, and those twins are like 16. I don't know. But you know who doesn't have to drop their dad's last name? Mindy Kaling's kids, okay? So it makes life less paperwork, at least. Okay, women are shelling out thousands for ladies-only summer camps, swapping juice boxes for wine. So this is great. There was 2 that they featured in this article from the New York Post, one in France and one, I think, like in Utah or something. And I don't know where it was. It was in America. But it's basically like you can do as many activities as you want. It's women only. And it reminds me of when my son, Brandon, he didn't want to go to Catalina camp, but I was sending him for 2 weeks. He ended up having a great time, but he's like, why don't you just go to mom camp where you drink wine and order stuff off your phone and just shop off your phone? And I said that, everybody's like, I want to go to mom camp. Where do we go to Brandon's mom camp? So, yeah, I think this sounds great. Whether you're single or not, like you want to travel, you want to be with other women. I also came across this group in San Diego that's like a social club just for girls to find girlfriends. And I just think there's going to be more things like this because people are going to just be like, I want to just stop doing everything on my phone and I want to meet people in person and I might not know how. So whether it's dating or actually just finding real friends in person, I think more of these things are going to be popular. And if they become really popular, you can also become a late in life lesbian. Okay. So the New York Times said the late in life lesbian experience blossoms online. So, I've always liked a late in life lesbian story, and good for her. So this woman was married to her husband for like 20 years. And then she just realized she just had stronger feelings than she'd ever thought for her longtime best friend. And, good for them. I love it. All right. This is interesting and sad. As you know, Matthew Perry died. And it was ketamine in his system, 3 times the amount that anybody should have for pain killing. So ketamine is done for pain, but then there's been like a street version of it. And I remember housewives were accusing each other of it, I think on Salt Lake, like you like to take the K. And I guess it's something just like someone might have like a Vicodin with a cocktail to like take the edge off. I don't know, but no one should be messing with this shit. And now they're saying that allegedly multiple people might be charged in his death of the ketamine. They're going to find out where he got it from, who sold it to him. Now, he talked about it in his book that he used ketamine in rehab to get over his physical pain and things like that. So, but then he had this enormous amount. He sent off his assistant to go do some errands, and then he went in the jacuzzi and must have like passed out from having so many drugs. But they want to know who sold it to him, which is something that people are talking about in the legal system. Like if someone dies of fentanyl, and even if someone shared it with that person, could that person who shared it with them, not knowing it was a deadly fentanyl dosage or fentanyl hidden in something, could they be held responsible for that person's death? So it's just very scary, but we'll see. Julie Chrisley's prison sentence is thrown out by an appeals court. So remember, Julie Chrisley is the wife of Todd Chrisley, who had the reality show Chrisley Knows Best. They are total grifters, fraudsters, created this persona that they had all this money and everything to get the reality show. Even at one time, Todd Chrisley had a pilot for a talk show that he was going to do. Did it ever go? I don't know. If it went, it was short-lived. But they were giving this, they just thought he was so great. If you remember, he just acted like by all accounts of anybody that, if you had to guess if this guy was straight or gay, I don't think there'd be one person in America, if they saw him on TV, that would, if you had to guess, would say, this is a happy gay man in his late 40s, early 50s that likes plastic surgery and dressing well. No. He was in love with his wife, Julie, and he was like, kids, get out of here so I can make love to your grandma. Like, he was just so, acted like he was so into her. Anyway, they did all this fraudulent stuff. And the case is complicated, and I don't remember the details of it. But he got more time than she. They're both in prison. But now the court found that the trial judge incorrectly attributed her a larger role in the fraud scheme than she actually played, lending to an improper sentencing. So her case has been remanded to a lower court for resentencing, where her involvement will be accurately determined, likely resulting in a reduced sentence. So if she gets a reduced sentence, she's already done some time. Maybe she'll be out I think she's got like 6 years left. So maybe she'll get out in like another year or two or something. So meanwhile, like their daughter is, on her podcast and stuff is trying to let people know about the conditions in the prisons and how horrible they are. So she's probably happy if her mom gets out. P. Diddy has wiped his Instagram clean amid sexual assault allegations. Yeah, I think that's wise, P. Diddy. I do. Also, he dropped lawsuits against Sean John. He was suing Sean John, his former clothing company. He's like dropped that. He's just like, I just need to lay low. Good luck to you, dude. Vanna White allegedly is not enjoying her new co-host since Pat Sajak left, and now Ryan Seacrest is doing the show. I don't watch the show. I don't know. But, I think that was the class move not to replace her. But maybe also the move is like, let's just make it so uncomfortable that she quits. Because she's like, I don't know, allegedly. I don't know, maybe I don't have the same chemistry with Ryan Seacrest. Well, of course you don't. You worked with Pat Sajak for like 35 years. Of course you're not going to have the same chemistry with someone that you've done 10 shows with versus someone that you've done 10,000 shows with. But you're still just standing there in a cute outfit spinning the thing. So, they're probably just like, don't you think you'd be happier doing something else? Isn't Ryan annoying? You should leave. That's what I think is happening. This story is crazy. So this bride and groom had a beautiful wedding, and unbeknownst to their guests, the bride and the groom had the caterer put cannabis in the food. And they started to get all these 911 calls. People were like freaking out. They didn't know what was wrong with them. And the cops come and they're talking to the bride, and she's like, and they're like, was there anything that you put in there or anything? She's like, because he's like, because it's going to be a problem. We need to know. Your guests are freaking out. They're paranoid and they're like, and he's like, anyway, the caterer and she both got arrested for this. And her guests did not find it funny. Like, they're like, probably want their wedding gifts back. They're like, this was horrific. So definitely don't do that as a prank. Don't do that as fun. That has to be something that everyone has to be on the same page about. As you recall, on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which was kind of weird, Kyle, who was sober, had a cannabis dinner. And you could have as much cannabis, or you could have like medium, strong, or none cannabis in your food. And that's where Denise Richards got real wasted and put her pink jacket on backwards. And Dorit was like, I think you're wearing your jacket wrong. And she's like, I know what you're doing, Dorit. Don't do that. Don't do that. And she's like, I'm not. I'm just saying I think it might be backwards. Don't talk to me like that, okay? I know what you're doing. All right. And then later on, she was like, oh, I think it's because I ate that cannabis dinner. It's like, no, you had 4 cocktails on the way from Malibu to Encino, girl. But you know what? After this story, I'd be like, I'd double down and be like, you know what? I wondered why I was wearing my jacket backwards. I don't think it was the 4 Casamigos Blanco or Reposado or whatever that she likes on the rocks. I think it was maybe this, because look at these people. But anyway, the chef didn't like that there was any accusations that people would get more wasted than they intended. But I'm just saying, if you had a lot of drinks and then you had it, maybe you're putting on your jacket backwards. So Will Smith is going to perform at the 2024 BET Awards, and he will reportedly debut his new song. This is from Hollywood Unlocked. The Bad Boys movie seems to have done really, really well. Of course, he went away like he should after the slap. I think he could come and do a fun song, and we just will all act like that didn't happen. That was so 2 years ago, and that's it. So learn from him of how to react. You go away, you say you're sorry, and then you just do what you do. You just do a decent movie, you come out with a fun summer beat, and you move the fuck along. His son, Jaden, I also saw a small clip of a song he's done, which he refers to a girl that he broke up with who got lip injections. So people think that is when he dated Kylie Jenner. They definitely dated. I remember being at a Christmas party and they were together, and they were super cute together. They were like 16 or younger, like around 15, 16. And we were like telling some funny story about her when she was little, and she was kind of embarrassed, but he loved hearing it. And he was a delight. And, but people believe that she got the lip injections because he told her to. He said, you have thin lips. I don't think that's true either. I think being in the eye and being on social media, she probably heard a lot about it and was self-conscious, got her lip injections, and it was the best thing she ever did for her image and her business. So there you go. And by throwing that in his song, guess who's talking about it? Juicy Scoop. So good for them. Okay. The 7 chilling signs that you're a narcissist, and why it can all boil down to how you text. So this is kind of interesting, okay? This Dr. Carrie McAvoy is a psychologist specializing in abuse victims and outlines the 7 signs of potential narcissistic behavior, particularly evidence in texting habits. Now, I have been accused of my texting habits where people get real offended when I write okay or no worries or got it. But that really is what it is. Like if someone's like, hey, I can't make it, I will write no worries. And I just saw this with another video where the guy's like, how you know your girl is pissed at you. And it's like, have fun. Like if she texts, have fun to you. Or if she writes good night and it's in the middle of the afternoon. Like that, I kind of say, yeah, your girlfriend's mad at you. But I say have fun all the time. When someone's like, I can't go to your thing. I am going to dinner with whatever. All right, have fun. And I don't mean like have fun and fuck you. I really mean like have fun. Sounds fun. Have fun. But here these are, and I just want, maybe I'm a narcissist. If you don't respond, they want to know if you're too busy for them. So they're saying the narcissist will get pissed if you don't respond. Like, where are you? Why are you not responding? Instead of just assuming that you are busy. The narcissist will find some sentimental message and then they cut and paste it to a whole bunch of people. So I guess they're like charming a bunch of people at once. People with this disorder tend to be obsessed with their phones. Well, who isn't? We're all obsessed with our phones. They think it's okay to send explicit text messages and photos even before you know each other. Well, I definitely think if you're dating somebody and right off the bat they want to have you send nudes or sexting to sexy things, I think that's a bad sign for sure. But I don't know if it means they're a narcissist. They might just be like a perv that doesn't care and you're one of many people they're trying to get nudes from. Narcissists might send short messages without any follow-up, leaving you anxious, off balance, or feeling confused. Me being like, okay, got it. Also, ask anybody who has a teenage son. Are they all narcissists? Because they barely answer me back. If I look at the text messages between my sons and I only get a response when it's a food order, like, hi, would you like something from the store or Chick-fil-A? Then they respond. Otherwise, it's just okay and got it. They don't even write have fun. I wish they would. And so there you go. Who knows? I think sometimes this term is being overused. But to analyze someone's text, some people are just not good at the text. That's why I like to pick up a phone. And that's why I like to meet you in person. And I will if you come to my shows. So everybody, go to heathermcdonald.net. Go get your tickets for the rest of my shows. Make sure you go to heathermcdonald.net because that is where the price is that I set, that I get. Unfortunately, if you just Google it and you see it and it's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, that is not me. That is a secondary source. So please buy your tickets now at heathermcdonald.net. And you can also join my Patreon, which everyone loves. Just went to a fabulous dinner with the Patreon owner, CEO, and at, such a great restaurant, Mother Wolf. I was so excited. I'm going to talk all about it on my Patreon. I'll talk all about that and what the scoop was there. It was fabulous. There was a party outside. I ran outside and ran into other stars. It was a good time. And it was the best meatball that I've ever had in my life. So I'm going to tell you all about it and lots of other juicy stuff. Every Friday, plus extra juicy crimes, get me behind gates, tears. It's all there at heathermcdonald.net. Okay, you guys, have a wonderful day.